This is going to be something that I'll be doing quite frequently, commentary, streaming updates. I don't really know what to title it, but other than the whole synopsis of it, it's just me talking about the future, updates of me streaming, and content creation as a whole. So we're going to get into three different key points in this video. We're going to be talking about Undertale, and we're going to talk about a special recommendation, and also Call of Duty. And as the title shows, I'll get to that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about Undertale. So Undertale is one of those games that has been highly recommended to me throughout my time of streaming. I've had my times actually playing the game for, I'll say, not even a good hour or so. And I should really apologize to folks that have been wanting me to, play this game throughout its fullest. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it's one of those games that I never really have an interest in. Don't get me wrong. I know Undertale is a great game. It's a great game that's been praised throughout many, different, content creators and different people vocalizing about the game. And I'm really happy for you guys to actually enjoy it. I just personally don't really find the game to be much of an interest to me. It's like saying someone can enjoy a movie, right? Let's say a good old fashioned movie. Let's say a movie that came out in the 90s saying that, hey, this is a really good movie. I recommend it. And it's like, hey, I see that it's a good movie. I just don't really find it interesting to me, you know? But I'm going to push past that, and open my cranium over here, open past that, and actually give the game more of a try. And I want to tell you why I have literally been nagging, or shall I say, pretty much I have been not wanting to play it. The controls. And I know, and I know as of recently, did a little bit of research, that people prefer more of a joystick than mouse and key, or shall I say just a keyboard. Because, for me, out of majority of the times I was playing, oh, sorry, my eye's a little bit itchy. The majority of me playing, I've been playing on a keyboard, and it felt really uncomfortable for me to even play it. And I'm mainly a right hand dominant, left hand dominant control person, I guess. I don't know what you would describe it. But for what I hear, it's better play wise on controller than it is on keyboard. So I'm going to give Undertale another chance throughout my streams here and there. So keep an eye out for Undertale content coming very soon, on controller this time. Because, like I said, I just felt really uncomfortable even playing it, which pretty much, overload, or should I say overstimulated me, because it's like, I'm pressing buttons here and there, and it's like I keep messing it up. And that is all my fault. And trust me, I apologize to everyone that actually been wanting for me to actually play this game, and I will do my best to actually, change inputs and actually push through with the game. So again, keep an eye out for that. And to anyone wondering, yes, I do stream on Twitch, and also I've been trying to stream on YouTube as well. It's just that I don't think my internet can actually handle that, even though I do kind of multi-stream between Twitch and TikTok. TikTok is kind of one of those platforms that I utilize to actually grab more folks into, YouTube and to Twitch, grow more of an audience through and through. So I do appreciate every single one of you for tuning in and actually watching this, because, like I said, I'm just a guy that really does enjoy my hobby. I would say it's more of a hobby than it has. I've been on the streaming platform and content creation for a very long time. I will give a brief history if you guys actually want me to make a video of that. Comment down below and leave a like and subscribe for real. I much appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. This is something a little bit new where basically I just give people shout outs to recommendations, because I am a person that is really indecisive to what to play. For instance, Undertale is a game that has been recommended me, therefore I actually touched upon it, and now shout out to home girl over there, Petrie. Petrie, much appreciate you for sticking around and also giving me this recommendation. And pretty much Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares is a recommendation by Petrie that from one of my streams. I think she showed up first on TikTok and pretty much recommended me a game, Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares, I've of course seen some of the gameplay, and to be honest, I don't really remember much of it all. I haven't played the game personally, so you will most likely will be seeing me play Little Nightmares in the upcoming days. They're going to be more of streams onto VODs, so if you guys feel like you're going to be missing out, you guys won't. So I'll say I'll be streaming it, then I'll say a couple days later I'll actually be uploading the VODs, because I'm gonna be honest, the file size of downloading these VODs are atrociously huge, and they take a while for me not only to even download, make the thumbnail, and also upload. So again, I do appreciate you, Petrie, for recommending me Little Nightmares. I actually luckily found it on sale on Steam for both of them for like a really great price. So lucky that you actually like recommended me this. And yes, I have some notes about this because I don't want to be stuttering of what I even have to think, or even be in like a goddamn like I don't want to be in a cluster of a wall and just be like, oh, what do I say next? That's why I take notes. If you guys also want to recommend me some games, make sure to check out my Twitch and or also TikTok and for the soon future, YouTube live and also some videos. Comment down below on a game that you guys want to see me play, and whatever actually has the most likes, I'll actually give it a shot and talk about it here on these videos. Where I'll actually schedule and actually make plans for said game that is recommended. And again, appreciate you. And now we're in the nitty gritty of something that is a bit of a core part of me for a long time, you know, and that is Call of Duty. I will be announcing right now that I will no longer be making Call of Duty content or even Call of Duty streams for the foreseeable future. In all honesty, it's a bit, I'll say that very loosely, just because even though Call of Duty's been a great staple of me, even from past before streaming or before making videos, I used to make videos of Call of Duty every now and then. Um, zombies content. I used to make, quite a good plethora. If you guys want to have like a good deep dive search, all I gotta say is that I actually was in like I was on YouTube for a very long time, like in my teens and such, making those kind of videos of Call of Duty and 1v1s and all that stuff. But I just personally feel like Call of Duty is one of those games that it's too much of a red pool. For those who don't know what red pool means, it's mainly used in business industries where it's like, hey, if you want to give someone a need, you got to find like a blue pool. You got to find a place where you got to like, find that need where people can actually find you. Red pool is essentially like it's just blood in the water. It's just blood in the water where everyone's always attacking each other. Everyone's, going at each other's throats about the game, and it becomes more harder for smaller content creators to actually find their voice or even find themselves out in the space of the internet to even be known. So essentially, yeah, I'm not going to be making any more Call of Duty streams or even content for the foreseeable future. And mainly just because of that, it's too oversaturated. I can't really come up with anything to even make a video about. I know I'll say a couple years ago, I actually made a one of my very first videos on this channel, which is called Wheel of Duty. It went through a couple name changes, I'm gonna be honest, but essentially what it was just a video of me and some friends that had an idea where we practically just went into Modern Warfare 2, and we randomized the entire class, and then we have to follow through a win of a game of search and destroy. And once we do that, we move on to the next weapon class. But if we fail that, we have to keep repeating the same class that we had that could be either abysmally good or atrociously bad, that we can actually, have a little fun with it. It's an entire wheel. We choose a weapon, perks, attachments, all that stuff. I did had a great time doing that. And now that, everyone's a little bit more grown, everyone has, responsibilities and such, I don't really have much of a team, I would say. I don't really have much of a team. In honesty, I feel really lonely in this journey, so I pretty much, that's why I'm kind of more like into more like single player content than I am multiplayer content. Because, multiplayer for me, I love multiplayer stuff. I'm a really, fanatic on anything multiplayer related. Just personally, I can't stand Call of Duty anymore, And honestly, I'll be playing more of this game on my free time than I would actually like stream or make a video about. Call of Duty is like one of those games that has been with me for a very, very long time, My very first Call of Duty game was literally Black Ops. It was the first Black Ops game, and then after that, I found out about World at War, played the campaign, and unlocked the ending, which pretty much was the first iteration of zombies, and then got hooked on from there. Modern Warfare 2, 3, Black Ops 2. I was invested in this game series, and I really did find a really grow like a childhood attachment to this game franchise. And now that the franchise has been very, very just, I can't even describe how it pains me to see how it is right now. From skill-based matchmaking to companies, Activision practically lying to our faces, from time to time. They try to be transparent, but I feel like they're being transparent through a brick wall. You know, it's like they'll talk through the other side, but you can't see what's really going on. I really do feel like Call of Duty, in a sense, has lost its identity for the foreseeable future. I do hope that I'm wrong. Hopefully they go back to basics to how everything is. I do like how they try to make an interconnected universe with Modern Warfare and the Black Ops series and all. I do find that really cool that they have these characters that we love from the Modern Warfare and Black Ops series actually colliding within the same world. Makes sense, to me personally. But it just became a complete mess, and it's just all these cosmetics and them trying to keep up, to what's new and engaging. Don't get me wrong, I do like how a lot of the things they implemented in Call of Duty, with like all the content they've been bringing out. But personally, I just feel like Call of Duty will be thriving more if it was a free to play game. And the reason why I say that is because look at it, they're trying to compete with Fortnite. Fortnite is one of those games that personally I rarely even touch. I say never, too lightly, but I actually touch it quite some time. Whenever some of my friends will get on, they'll say, "Hey, get on here," and I'll be, okay, I'll go and play. I'll play these games every so often. But at the same time, I don't really find much of an interest in Fortnite to the point Fortnite became somewhat of a Roblox 2 in a sense. And that's something I get nervous about when it comes to games, how they pretty much lose their own identity to what they were before and try to expand on something that they could probably pivot off and profit, you know. And in all honesty, I do feel like Call of Duty is unfortunately gonna have to go through the same way. And that's why I'm thinking like, hey, why can't COD just be a free to play experience, at this point? Make the multiplayer free, make the zombies free, Warzone is obviously free, you know, and I feel like if they do that, they'll get more downloads, more playtime through a lot of folks who can't even afford Call of Duty and probably like purchase. I'll say like if they make a campaign, I don't mind a $30 campaign. At least that's something worth it, right? Instead of $30 for a ninja skin or literally to collect the entire Ninja Turtle catalog for 80 whole smackaronis, that's literally like 10% more than the actual like listing price for the game, which really does irk my nerves a lot. So I just personally feel like, you know, like Call of Duty should, like I said, be a free to pay experience, and pivot their profits more on their battle passes and cosmetics, just like how Fortnite is. I know Fortnite used to be somewhat of a zombies game, for what I remember, and it just became more onto this whole multiversal. Like I'm gonna be honest, like I know some people might agree or disagree. I feel like Fortnite became sellouts, and I feel like Fortnite just became just constant sellouts. But hey, it works for them, gets the money in their pockets. I can't really just bash on their hustle, man. That's what they do. And again, I do apologize for anyone that kind of wanted to see me do some more Call of Duty content. Unfortunately, like I said, I will like it's a bit too much, you know. And I know it can be simple for some folks, but I feel like for Call of Duty, you need to be either a pro, you need to be one of three things. I feel like you either need to be a pro player, a good Warzone player, a zombies content creator, or a Call of Duty news channel. And personally, I don't want to be either one of those. As much as I love the franchise itself, I will not put myself in that kind of position. And again, very soon I'll try to play Undertale on controller this time. And obviously, very soon you guys will see me play Little Nightmares. If you guys miss out, don't worry. A VOD will be uploaded to my YouTube. In regards of Little Nightmares, I'll be actually be purchasing both Little Nightmares 1 and 2. I forgot to mention that part. But yeah, this is pretty much the gist of the video. I do appreciate every single one of you. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys enjoy it. And like I said, comment down below for any recommendations. I always look in the comments. And if you guys see me on TikTok, do the same thing over there. At least it has a greater reach for me to at least, look into what games are available and what games that I should play. And again, everyone, I much appreciate every single one of you for watching. And as always, take care, everyone. Bye bye.